Okay. Sure, get going.
This is 55-year-old male presented with poor growth in 6 months, frequency 6 times during daytime, nighttime once, and left lower edema since 10 days.
Why does he have this frequency? Why do you think he has this frequency? Anything odd about this frequency? How old is he?
Yes, sir.
How old is the patient?
55, sir.
55. Do you see anything odd about the frequency pattern?
No, sir.
No. In the exam, usually when you're asked like this, you must look again to see. What do people in this age group who have lower urinary tract symptoms usually complain the most about after poor stream? Those who have storage symptoms. Hardik, this is for you.
Urgency, sir.
Praveen, Hardik is discussing.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Hardik.
50% nocturia.
What do you mean by nocturia?
Nocturia, so means more than one void during period of sleep.
Okay, my suggestion is rather than use terms like nocturia, use the description. They are bothered by nighttime frequency, isn't it?
Yes.
Daytime, they don't sometimes even notice. But nighttime, they're definitely bothered. But look at this gentleman here. He's got daytime frequency and he's not bothered by his nighttime frequency because he wakes up only once. So we have to think at this stage, what could be causing his frequency? Okay, keep that in your mind.
Yes, sir.
Let's proceed.
I want some more history.
You'll get more history, don't worry. Sambhaji, go back one slide. Last line, you think it is adequate?
No, sir.
What is missing?
Sorry, whether it is fitting or non-fitting edema, we have to mention.
What else?
For extension, we have to mention from where to where.
No, it doesn't matter really. This is urology, not general surgery or MBBS. We'll accept it. What are the critical things when you have unilateral limb edema? Hey, no background coaching, please. He has to think.
We have to rule out DVT, sir.
Baba, I asked you what questions will you ask? You're going to ask the patient, do you have DVT? Huh? So what are the questions we have to ask? What do we have to look for?
Whether it is progressive or not, sir. And
no, that comes later. Hardik, there are certain things which are associated immediately. So what are those things which are associated immediately? Hey, come on guys, you fellas can think well here.
Sir, history of fever or any trauma, sir.
You want to know whether it is painful, whether it's got claudication. You want to know the skin, whether it looks reddish and inflamed, whether there are any obvious thrombosed veins. These are the things you want to know, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
You can't assume that everything is lymphedema. Understood, Sambhaji?
Yes, sir.
So 10 days. If this was 6 months, we wouldn't have bothered so much. 10 days, this could be acute phlebothrombosis or thrombophlebitis. So we ask for these histories because this has a different connotation from chronic edema. Okay.
There was no history of hematuria or burning micturition and no complaints of cough, breathlessness, back pain.
Why are you asking for back pain? What is the commonest cause of poor stream? 55 years. Hardik?
Urethral stricture, sir.
And what is the second commonest?
BPS, sir, benign prostatic
BPS.
hypertension.
Correct. So I want to ask somebody what's the relevance here of back pain? You get it, somebody?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Because if you put it here as back pain, the examiner thinks you've already got some feedback from the experts about the case. It can all come later after you've finished everything. In the end, you can say on inquiry, he does not have any back pain. Unless the patient himself says, all this started with back pain. Can these symptoms begin with back pain or simultaneously with back pain? Hardik?
Yes, sir. In case of spinal cord injury based on neurogenic.
He's got no history of injury, man.
And so, in case of malignancy or some metastasis to the bone that leads to.
Where is the metastasis? Now, this is guesswork. Okay, that will land you in trouble. What common condition can cause back pain and along with it, an evolving lower urinary tract symptomatology and sometimes maybe leg edema, not related to the back pain, but as a secondary consequence.
Sir, renal failure, sir, CKD.
Back pain, obstructive urinary symptoms.
Yes.
And we have not asked him, if we ask him, he might give a little more detail of the back pain. Supposing the patient says, 3 days ago I was traveling by bus, I had to bend down and lift a heavy suitcase and hoist it onto the luggage rack. And then this back pain started, and next morning onwards I have urinary complaints. What back pain can be caused by an acute flexion extension of the spine and can also involve the urinary tract from the consequences of that movement.
There are many conditions like that involving the urinary tract. Morning, one.
Morning.
If you bend and you have a slip disc and it involves the urinary tract,
Yes, sir.
then what is your difficulty in answering that question? Man? It's a famous question of Dr. PVG actually. Any patient comes, any young man comes to the clinic with retention of urine, please look for lumbar disc. If you don't say that, he will not let you go. Anything else can happen when there is acute flexion of the spine. There is some other disease process which the patient does not know of, involving an important structure in the abdomen. Can it cause something? can involve the urinary tract.
Abdominal aortic aneurysm.
Yes. Yes. One of the reasons or theories for retroperitoneal fibrosis is leak of blood. Leak of blood slowly seals off, produces a retroperitoneal inflammation, the ureters get trapped.
So, Praveen, not just an aneurysm, but a leaking aneurysm.
Okay, sir.
Anything else can cause the same thing. May not be disc, but anything else, acute flexion, followed by back pain, and then urinary retention or urinary difficulty. Hardik? Hey, leave Hardik to answer questions, please. If he says, I don't know, then somebody else can answer. And among those, I would like to give preference to the final years.
Hardik,
Sir.
can there be something wrong with the bone? Can there be something wrong with the bone or the articular surfaces of the bone of the spinal vertebral column due to some other, maybe a urological disease? And then it causes a problem and produces, as a consequence, another urological problem. Common condition in old people,
Osteoporosis.
osteoporosis. All right.
What else?
What else? Neurological condition can give rise to that, and then suddenly he presents with another urological problem. And then the first urological problem then comes to notice. Older man.
From metastasis in bone involvement.
Yes. Yeah.
Can be metastasis, it can be renal bone disease. Patient is in renal failure and then has other metabolic complications, has osteopenia, bends and develops a fracture.
Yeah, for it. Sir, sorry to be involved in that big mistake I was checking.
Right? Okay.
Yes, sir.
So these are all things we should look whenever there is an acute problem or an unexplained problem of sudden onset in relatively young people. He's only 55. He might be obese, he might have metabolic syndrome. Okay, let's move on. What medications is he on?
Sir, medication not listed, sir.
Okay. We'll ask Nayan. Nayan, what medications given for diabetes or hypertension can cause bone disease?
Nayan sir is not there, sir.
Okay,
Yes.
who's Karnakar?
Karnaka sir also not there, sir.
Not there.
Karnaka sir is on leave, sir. Nayan sir has an appointment.
Okay. Then let her. Is Kamal around?
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Good morning,
Kamal,
sir.
answer this. Morning.
Sir?
Answer this. Are there any medications given for diabetes or hypertension which can cause bone disease?
Sir, don't know, sir.
No. Read up.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Please read up. It's important because we are getting more and more people with these conditions on all kinds of drugs. We don't even know to pronounce the names. We must know. Okay. Tell them to move, Hardik, if you want to move.
Sir, I want to rule out some history in form of, sir, whether patient have an history of fever.
See, you give them a full list. Other than fever, what else do you want to know?
Any history of flank pain, sir?
Okay,
Or-
what else? You tell them at one go, they'll answer at one go. You want
Any
to know-
past history of any instrumentation or any
Whether he's had any
inter-
procedure in the past.
Yes.
Okay. What else do you want to know?
Any
Other than
any-
clinical history.
So drug history, any drug history is
Right.
taken,
What
any
else?
medication for
What
lots,
else? What else? What else?
any history of tuberculosis, sir?
Oh, tuberculosis, everything, but okay. Some people expect it, okay. Some more important things unrelated to a medical condition.
Personal
Medical
history, sir.
Sorry?
Personal history, sir.
Personal history is a heading.
Means any history of addiction or smoking.
See, he has got some pain, urinary problem. Related to that, you should take his personal history. Any addiction, any drug abuse, any smoking, what is this? Any addiction, any smoking? Drug abuse or smoking?
Yes, sir. Any past history of stone disease, sir?
Past history of stone disease, that they probably tell you. What else? Leave medicine out. Other than medical problems and medical issues, leave the drug, leave the illness, leave the past history of procedure, anything not related directly to medicine. Which he can tell you readily, but you may not be able to make out unless he tells you.
Sexual history, sir?
Okay, what else? That's again, see, medical. You want to know his occupational history?
Yes, sir. Okay, business.
You want to know his occupational history, correct? And do you want to know whether there's any family history of some condition like this?
Yes, sir.
You want to know, correct? Is
Yes,
there
sir.
anything else you want to know like that, not directly related to medicine? You'd like to know whether he has children, how many children, and so on.
Completed family on yes.
There is nothing like completing a family. My family, I feel, is not complete until I have 100 children. And right now, I'm only on 96.
So, how many
It's a long
children?
term to use here. How many children?
Yes.
Any social history? How much does he earn? Where does he live? And what does he eat? Correct?
Yes, sir.
Why?
Patient lower socioeconomic class or higher socioeconomic class, and we can offer
Why?
treatment based on this.
See, those are very wrong terms. They're insulting terms to use. Okay. But why do you want to know? We agree. We'll tell you what the alternate terms can be.
Can I call you back after the class? Okay.
So you want to know what type of diet he is eating, correct? If he is not well-to-do, if his earnings are low, he is unlikely to be having a good diet. On the other hand, if he is affluent, living very well, he might be overdoing things which are bad for his bone, which are bad for his urinary tract. This is the importance. Okay, move on.
Next. Sir, on examination, on a patient have a overweight, 95 kg weight, BMI 32, with a hard left prostate, left lobe, sir, and lower limb edema, left side.
Sambhaji, this is not the way you should put it. Prostate weight can come at the end.
Yes.
Prostate, enlarged, not enlarged, symmetrical, asymmetrical,
Yes, sir.
smooth, nodular. If there are nodules, the characteristic of the nodules. If it is smooth, whether both lobes have equal normal consistency or it's different, then you can go on to the weight of the prostate.
I add one more, tender, non-tender.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Okay, you must learn to write this because as soon as the examiner sees, he'll know you've been systematic in your assessment.
Yes.
Okay. Even your description of edema, absolutely inadequate. You guys seem to think everything can be because of lymphedema due to metastasis. 10 days history of edema, man.
Is it only the ankle? Is it the knee? Is it the whole limb? It's important, isn't it?
Is it tender, non-tender? Color of the skin overlying, the edematous area. I told you already.
Is it pitting or non-pitting?
Non-pitting or non-pitting. Any dilated veins or thrombosed veins are visible on the surface. And does he have claudication when he walks?
Then are there any changes related to phlebitis, old phlebitis? You may be having, we have these patients who have lower limb edema, and there's a lot of discoloration of the ankle area because of varicose veins and leakage. So those are important things because it will tell you as to what could be the reason for his edema. No? That's what we're trying to find out. Also, is this edema, when you see this patient, whether this edema is persisting all the time or does it settle down when he sleeps? Because you didn't get this in the history. Are you there?
Sambhaji,
Yes, sir.
acknowledge. It doesn't matter. We are trying to help you, not scold you. These are things which you must put, even as a clinician, you forget about examination. Make a huge difference. Hardik, anything you want to say after this? Any diagnosis?
Sir, patient has based on history, poor flow with frequency.
That description is not required.
Sir, based on the history and examination, probable diagnosis is CA prostate.
Don't even say probable. Say my first diagnosis.
My first diagnosis, CA prostate. Sir.
Be confident. Okay. What about the edema? You have to give an explanation for that also. Of course, they have not given you information. Based on the appearance of the edema and the other characteristics we discussed, you will tell them what the edema is due to or could be due to.
Yes, patient has unilateral edema with no issue of any trauma and fever. Dilated.
Which is worse for the patient? Bilateral edema or unilateral edema?
Bilateral edema, sir.
Paradoxically, it's unilateral edema. Okay. All right, let's move on. So what do you want to do now?
Sir, systemic examination, sir.
Okay, fine.
For abdomen.
Go on.
Next slide, please. I want to, for abdomen, whether, sir, any dilated veins over abdomen?
No.
No, you tell them, no, where is the abdominal findings? You finished with prostate.
I think he just put the important findings. Everything else is probably assumed negative.
Yes, sir. Abdominal examination was unremarkable.
So put that there. Say abdominal examination was normal. Or
Okay,
no abnormality on abdominal examination. This is cheating the candidate. Okay.
Okay, sir.
1 second, I want to ask Hardik a question related to that. Hardik, assuming this is CA prostate, what all abdominal examination findings are possible? Starting from the most common, going downwards.
Sir, supraclavicular lymphadenoma, annular supraclavicular lymph node, sir.
Why supraclavicular lymph node, Baba? There are other things closer by.
Sir, dilated veins over the abdomen.
No, you rarely see them. Dilated veins means venous obstruction. Either portal system or cable system. What is a common abdominal site for metastasis?
Liver, sir.
Yes. So what will you find?
Any ascites or
Sorry? Sorry, Hardik? I didn't hear you.
Annular liver, sir.
Yeah, hepatomegaly.
Hepatomegaly, sir.
Right. What else can you find? May you find? You should know when you say, I want abdominal examination, what are the things you're looking for, no? What else? You might be able to palpate the iliac lymph nodes. You will definitely palpate the inguinal lymph nodes. Occasionally, you might find ascites. If the patient is asthenic, hyperproteinemic, disseminated metastasis, you might find ascites. Similarly, spinal examination, which they have left out, you might elicit spinal tenderness. Before that, you might actually see a deformity sometimes. Okay, these are all important. If you get a case like this, you have to examine all of these.
There are certain subtle things also that you must see. One is Mohan mentioned about inguinal glands. Very important. Most people do not examine the inguinal nodes patient with CA prostate. It is retrograde spread, and sometimes that can be the primary presentation because that's what is visible and that's what is palpable. External iliac is neither visible and difficult to palpate in certain situations. The second thing is, if you are looking at the spine, also look at his gait. Because if this guy has got back pain and he's got this problem, he's got obviously hard prostate, and we know what we're dealing with here probably. The ability for the patient to hold his footwear is very important. Subtle changes are there at L5, S1 level where the nerves are involved. And in India, because we wear chappals and walk around, you ask them whether the chappal actually slips away. And then you will be able to see the clawing of the feet. It's very evident in children or patients who do have obvious neurological deficit, but in some patients like this, those things may not be seen or even apparent. He may not even realize it. So we've got to look at these issues. What Dr. Mohan is trying to tell you is, don't forget your medicine. You have to examine the patient fully. At the end of the day, you'll probably know what you're dealing with, but then it doesn't take away, because you have to then counsel the patient. All these factors will take into account as to when you want, how will you exactly treat this patient. All right.
Yes, yes, sir.
Yeah, they put up the
Carry on.
Sir.
lab investigations.
Sir, on investigation, serum PSA is 11.2 and all other parameters are normal, sir.
Normal. Okay, good. What does this 11.2 mean to you in terms of prostate cancer disease?
Please think carefully before you answer that question. What does this 11.2 mean in prostate disease?
So, means a high risk, sir, more than PSA.
Yes? Yeah, Uday?
No, you first have to say what are the conditions under which PSA can be 11.2.
You want him to come on Saturday?
And in the context of the CA prostate,
Let him finish
what
it.
does it tell you about the nature of the disease?
You call me later. That's fine. See, when you want to answer a question like that, you have to think in terms of the value of this PSA, what it means. At the same time, in the context of this patient, two things have to be looked at. As a value with a PSA of 11.2, you have to know that it is on the higher side, no doubt about it. What is the significance of any value of PSA above 10? What is the chance that a PSA of over 10 is going to be malignant? What is the percentage? So you must know these things if you have to answer it. Is there a chance that 11.2 could be a falsely elevated? This is a patient who has got a hard prostate, who also got lymphedema, which for all practical purposes may be due to lymphatic obstruction, or even what else? Apart from lymphatic obstruction, what else can cause a lymphedema in this patient who's got CA prostate?
Sir, metastasis to inguinal,
Lymphedema, metastasis, anything else? Lymph nodal, anything else?
Venous involvement, sir. Venous involvement, sir.
Sorry?
Venous involvement, sir. Comparison to the.
What do you mean by venous involvement? Be specific.
Maybe enlarged lymph node compressing the, sir.
No,
Yeah.
not at all.
See, that is not involvement.
Deep vein thrombosis, man. These patients who do have a problem with malignancy in the pelvis have a higher tendency to thrombotic events. There are certain other malignancies, pancreatic carcinoma for one. They all present like this with deep vein thrombosis, and especially pelvic malignancies, correct? So you need to be sure that that is also an area that needs to be of concern. So if this patient has got 11.2, he's got these problems, one would expect that the PSA will be sky high, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
And you get some patients with PSA of 100, some patients with a PSA of 200. This fellow with all this obvious disease has got a PSA of only 11.2. Does it mean we are dealing with a cancer which is not a favorable cancer? Is it not elaborating so much of PSA? Is there a neuroendocrine element, or is it a high grade? Is it a Gleason grade group 5 cancer? These are the things that you have to think about, and when the examiner asks you a question like this is how you will proceed to answer it, and gives you clearly to the examiner that yes, this guy knows what he's talking about. You understand how you're going to answer this question? I'm giving you the answer, but that's how we expect that you will frame your replies.
Yes, sir.
So I think for a moment what all it could connotate, and then go ahead.
Often we've seen patients coming with a PSA of 3, 4, 6 with all these other complications. So the discussion there might actually lie somewhere else, not only in the diagnosis. Okay, Hardik, you want anything else, ask for it, otherwise tell them to move on. What do you want to do next?
Next, sir, ultrasonography of abdomen and pelvis.
Why do you want to do ultrasonography? Buying time before you make up your mind.
Think carefully, man. What is the role of ultrasonography? You've got an obvious finding here. You've got a man who's got a hard prostate, who's got lymphedema probably, who's got a PSA of 11.2. Why don't you get an investigation which is going to give you the answer? Why are we going round and round with the damn ultrasound for everything, man? Huh? There is no role for ultrasound in this patient. Poor or no poor, nothing at all. Forget it. It's not going to give you any bit of information. The only bit of information you probably have is a high PVR. That you know from anything else. When you do the flow, you will know that also. You don't need an ultrasound for it. But you are not doing an ultrasound only for the PVR in this patient. I presume you are doing it for all the other things. And for all the other things, you have a better investigation today.
Most often we won't even know what we are doing it for.
One would expect that answer from a candidate who's going for the exam.
Yeah. What is the goal?
I get the feeling that the candidates are worried that if you don't say ultrasound,
They're in trouble.
penalized. No,
Yeah.
you won't get penalized. In the right situation, you don't want an ultrasound.
They'll ask you, don't you want to do an ultrasound? You tell them why you don't want to do it.
You must be emphatic. What is the role of the ultrasound in this fellow? Obviously, you want to know what the disease is. Man.
Yes.
The discussion in a patient like this, by now you guys who are going for the exam or preparing, should know that there are only two tests which are the bone of contention at this moment. One is an MRI, the other is a PSMA PET. Full stop. That is where the discussion is going to happen. That is how we want the exam to proceed. This stupid ultrasound for this. Some no.
Let us assume that your consultant tells you get an MRI for this patient. What MRI technique will you recommend? And is there anything in addition to just the imaging that you want to do? Consultant says, yaar MRI kara do iska.
MRI abdomen pelvis with spine screening, sir. Full spine screening.
I'm talking about MRI technique.
Multiparametric MRI.
Mm-hmm. What other adjuvants do we have to a multiparametric MRI, which will increase the accuracy of our diagnosis? Maybe before that, what is this multiparametric MRI? Vedanayagam, anybody wants to take this up?
What do they mean by this multi-parametric MRI?
Combination of anatomical and functional.
Sorry? Say it loudly.
Combination of anatomical and functional parameters.
What are they?
The diffusional weighted imaging and the.
Which is the anatomical one? Which is the functional one in this? which is the anatomical part of the MRI, multiparametric MRI. That, no, anatomical and functional. You're absolutely right. But which is the one that is going to give you anatomy, which is going to give you function?
So T2 for anatomics, local student.
T2 weighted image for anatomy.
Anatomics.
Right?
And diffusion coefficient for functional.
Okay. There was also one more thing which was added as a functional, which is now no longer used, but it used to be there in the first level, or first time in multiparametric MRI. What is it? What was-
ADC mapping, sir.
ADC mapping is there still, some people do, but there's one parameter which has been removed.
So the coefficient which they used to calculate this, they were saying
Diffusion
less
of
than one-
coefficients.
They have removed MR spectrometry, sir.
Yes, correct. Spectrometry has now been removed from that as one of the parameters. Previously there were 4, now it is. Which is the one that is most important in these 4?
T2.
T2 and or T2 is anatomy. Diffusion weighted.
Diffusion coefficient. Right. Yes.
That is the one that is going to tell you exactly what happens. Right? So, you have not answered the question fully what Mohan asked. But this is only one part of the question. What else in the question?
This gives you imaging, right? Would you like to do something in addition to imaging so that you can get a lot more information, direct information?
Biopsy, sir.
No.
Trust guided biopsy.
Trust guided during MRI.
Sir,
For MRI investigation, he wants to know what else in the MRI will be of value in such a patient. He said, will tell the radiologist.
so in MRI, presence of metastasis or extension of any visceral involvement, bone involvement, lymph node enlargement, sir. Extracapsular extension, sir.
So
This
you
patient
want-
has got some edema also.
MRI, if you tell multiparametric and leave it, some fellows will only charge you for that bit. If you tell him that I'm suspecting he's got probably bone mets, he'll do a skeletal survey, he'll do the whole abdomen, you want to look at the liver, you want to look at above the pelvis. Huh?
Yes.
So you have to be very clear. Some of these request forms for the MRI are just one line where they write something, but you must give them exactly what are the information you want. Then it is not a routine in many centers that you will do a skeletal survey as part of multiparametric MRI. Not it. So you want that information, you do it. Huh?
Okay, was an MRI done? Neurofilmetry, that's all right.
Okay, he's got a poor flow that he has told us. Any MRI here?
On MRI, enlarged left external iliac lymph node 5.1 into 2 semi and left peripheral zone of prostate hypointense lesion around 1.8 into 1 centimeter with no vesical involvement. Sir.
What is the venograph?
What else would you want?
Sir, any visceral metastasis or bone, if first spine screening has been done along with
About local
pelvis.
findings, about the local imaging.
involvement of sir adjacent structure. Sir.
That they've said seminal vesicle something. With respect to prostate, do you want more information? Which will guide treatment. Surprisingly missing here. They usually report on that in every scan. Unless somebody has taken a shortcut.
Yeah, probably they just I think split the entire report here for lack of space or whatever. Venography means what? Contrast was put into the vein, is it? In this patient?
No.
See, this is a plain imaging of the vein, that's all. Venography is when you inject contrast and take the image. Hardik, if you're happy, let's move on.
Yes. So the feature, I don't know, sir, which.
No, that's okay, we'll move on. So you've got a lesion in the prostate, not involving a seminal vesicle, and there is an encasing lymph node mass in the left external iliac vein. Okay.
Sir, I require for confirmation histopathology like biopsy, sir, trust guided prostate biopsy.
Could you have done it during the MRI? Why one more truss, one more guided?
But here, sir,
Is it possible to do a prostate biopsy with the MRI gantry? That's all he's asking.
yes, sir, but here the patient has a hard nodule prostate on the left side, so high diagnostic.
Can you do it or not do it? Whether he's got hard nodule, he's got no nodule, that's a different matter. Is it possible to integrate your prostate biopsy with the MRI? That's all he's asking.
Yes, sir.
That's the answer, yes. The next question will be how will you integrate it? The third question will be what are the indications for that?
Yes, sir.
Huh?
Do we do it in all cases, or are
No,
there
sir,
some
not
cases
that.
where it's more useful and we do it only there? And what are the techniques? Is it just MRI or do we add something else to be able to do the biopsy?
Well, something, no? You fuse something, no? I'm surprised you don't know, man. You must be knowing the answers to all this. It's everywhere now. It's so common. People are trying.
What is this MRI fusion biopsy?
If there's one disease which is only being talked about in all the Western urological conferences, is the damn prostate carcinoma. There's no other condition which has been thrashed in the last BJ Pause and this ad nauseam coming. Prostate cancer.
Sometimes I really wonder whether it's economically and health-wise such an important problem.
But obviously it is for these fellas.
Sorry?
It obviously is for these fellas because
For these fellas,
they're going hammer and tongs at it. Hammer and tongs. Oh, there's so much money in it.
Ah, that way, yes. Yeah, okay.
Sir.
If you finish, then
What are the bad features? What are the bad features in this biopsy report?
Sir, higher lesions was 5 plus 4, 9. And involvement at all 4, sir, 12. And 80% involvement in each core is also, sir, bad, along with perineural invasion, sir.
so everything is bad.
Every one of this is bad.
Sir, most bad is perineural invasion, sir.
See, he's got an SNR type. Is that bad or good? Between ductal and SNR,
Ductal is a very poor prognosis, sir. Ductal have poor prognosis than adenocarcinoma, sir.
Both are adenocarcinoma, just that the SNR variety is slightly better than the ductal variety. Be clear about it. Anyway, He's got bad news. That we knew from the start, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Because his PSA was only 11, and that's how we worked on it. You see now how these things are important, how the question that was asked at that point will reflect on finally what the histology is and what the biopsy report is actually. So now what are you going to do now?
Sir,
Did the MRI show any bone involvement, or are you going to leave out looking at the bones? Will you do a bone scan, or will you
yes,
ask?
sir. I will proceed bone scan, sir. FPT.
Or will you ask for the MRI? Yeah, bone scan, see?
Sir, on bone scan, sir, the number of core metastases, sir, occiput, right leg and left. So high volume disease, sir, with one metastasis beyond the pelvis and vertebra.
Yes, I mean, unfortunately, he's got bad disease.
So, sir, this 56 years male patient with, sir, enlarged lymphadenopathy with high volume disease and Gleason score 5+4. I will start patient on hormonal therapy, sir.
What will be your strategy now? You outline what are the ways by which you can address this man's problem. In the light of what's happening in the world today, would you like to stratify, or would you like to? Yes, stratify is probably the word to use. So when you have a patient with this biopsy report and this volume of disease, what are things that people are actually looking at today, these days? Is this a patient on whom you are going to give unimodal therapy? Are you going to give multimodal therapy?
Sir,
He's a young man. He's got a good performance status, isn't it? You said that.
yes, sir.
Yes. So you need to go beyond that. That's what the world is looking at. You're just not looking at removing somebody's testicles and being done with it. Or
It's only 55.
yeah, you're a young man. You want to be good performance status, so cash in on the opportunity. And he's got asymptomatic bone mets. Did you say that he's got a vague backache? Is it? No, it's nothing at all.
Sir.
See, there's a difference between symptomatic bone mets and asymptomatic bone mets.
Yes.
So, you must cash in on all these five features. We know he's got bad disease. So, you want to hit it hard. He's got high-grade tumor. So, is there something more that you would like to add to your treatment? That's all. These are the questions that will make the examiner know whether you have been in touch with what's happening in the world of carcinoma prostate, and it's all expected of a resident who is going for the exam.
Sir, along with hormonal therapy and LHRH agonist, I will start chemotherapy in the form of docetaxel.
So you have to say that. You can't be prompted. As a person who's going for an exam, or as a consultant who's going to look at a patient like this, the moment you finish your exam, you have to talk to him, and you have to, in your mind, you have to channelize and say, oh, this guy's got this problem, this is how I'm going to work at it. And then you talk to the patient and tell him, because of these features, I want to do this for you. He may agree, he may not agree. But you have to vocalize these thoughts.
He may also want to know what else can be done. If not this, are there any alternatives? He says, sir, I've been reading internet, they say something radical prostatectomy or radiation. Why not one of those?
Sir, patient have a metastatic disease with high volume disease, involvement of bone and lymph node. There is no role of radical prostatectomy in this case, sir.
Fair enough.
If the radical prostatectomy is indicated in case of localized
fine.
disease, sir,
You can leave the answer at this. Don't go beyond this. Okay, then you're getting into trouble. You say no, for this stage of disease, not indicated. Then he'll say, what about some radiation?
Already patient has a metastatic disease, so no role of.
Will you give the answer or will you make somebody else give the answer?
Radiotherapy indicated in low volumes or metastatic diseases.
Will you give this answer or will you take somebody's inputs before giving this answer to make it more valid and also to make it more authoritative?
In short, what is the best way of handling this patient? In the best circumstance, what's the best way of handling it? As a consultant urologist?
Multimodal approach, sir, with oncologist, urologist.
Multimodal, but then what else? There's something more to it. What is being done today for all malignancies?
Have you heard of MDT?
Huh? These are the patients where, as Dr. Mohan said, multidisciplinary team. That means you have an oncologist, you have a radiologist, a radiation expert, and you have a urologist. All three will be sitting together along with the pathologist, who will tell you that, listen, boss, this grade 5 is only in a very small area of the whole. There's sheets of grade 5, glacial group 5. All this makes a big difference. And then the radiation fellow will talk, then you will discuss, and then you finalize the treatment plan for the patient and then counsel him that this is what has been done. The multidisciplinary team has done this, and this is the way we are going to treat you. And that's it.
And that your treatment for this is going to be given by the medical oncologist, and we will keep pitching in periodically to check out how you're doing, because they're experts in this. We won't be attempting it as radiologists, as urologists.
As a urologist, we are worried about his high PVR, in which case he may or may not have some TUR or channeling or something that can be done at some point. So that's another issue that needs to be kept in mind. He's got a poor flow and he's got a high PVR. So if at some point in time, you all, as the MDT team, decide that, well, he could have a dose of radiotherapy to the prostate to take care of it, then it is better in that situation that you clear the outflow tract, because giving radiotherapy to the prostate when the patient has got a high PVR is not good. They have a lot of side effects. So that's how you work on this patient. So the answer in the exam would be, the safest exam would be, sir, I will discuss this with my MDT team. And it puts everybody at rest. The examiner knows this fellow is talking sense. What will the MDT team decide? These are the factors that we will think about. We will get chemohormonal, yes. This is a sort of patient. What's this? This is high volume disease, low volume disease. If you give this high volume disease, chemotherapy works better. We know that. Docetaxel works better when there's high volume disease. When there's low volume disease, enzalutamide works better. Earlier, we would say you start this and this. Now things are changing rapidly. You can use upfront these medications so that you hit the prostate cancer hard. So there are lots of things that are happening in the world. It's important to know all these studies that are going on. At least have a bird's eye view that this is what it is.
Is there anything else we can give?
Today in the exam, if you just say orchidectomy and get away with it, some guys are not going to be very happy at all. There will be people, they won't do it. But a discerning examiner will really go all the way. I'm not going to leave carcinoma prostate alone just with orchidectomy. Not at all. Not expected.
Are there any other regime or technique which can be used other than this chemotherapy and radiation if required? something that's come in recently in nuclear medicine. Dr. Venkatesh spoke about this in
Diagnostic and
The lutetium directed.
Hey, let him answer, Praveen. Let him answer, Praveen. He has to think. Your turn will come. Yeah, Hardik. Any other technique? Any other modality?
nuclear medicine nowadays is divided in two sections, no, Hardik?
Yes, sir. Therapeutic and diagnostic.
Huh?
Diagnostic and therapeutic, sir.
Yeah, diagnostics and theranostics. There, right? Okay, so that's all the answer. So you look at it and say,
You better read up on this because theranostics is not for everybody across ages.
yes,
Look up, talk to your nuclear medicine people and know a little more. Because the examiner might suddenly perk up and say, okay, now tell us about theranostics.
Sir, I would like to add one thing. Theranostic results are more significant if SU is more than 20, sir.
Yeah,
SU
always
of
we
that
need to
standard.
know.
we are not looking at that in place.
No, these are the things we need to know.
Is not done as the primary treatment. The primary treatment for this is still what? The primary treatment for this sort of disease is what? You can't
Hormonal
get.
therapy, sir.
Sorry?
Hormonal therapy, sir.
Yes. Without hormones, nothing else moves forward in this disease, in this stage of disease. So you start with hormonal depletion, add on one, add on third, add on fourth, as things go by and by. And the final is what? Final is what? Palliative. Palliative.
This also you must know.
Can't do anything more. Your PSA is climbing.
And he's only 55 years of age.
MIO means match is over. One slightly. That's all. See a prostate. I mean, this. And when that happens, you know that it's very long before the patient passes on. It's a bad disease, unfortunately. Anyway.
There was this prevalent view for a long time that
Sorry?
younger patients do poorly.
That is why we have to be aggressive in the treatment of a younger.
They have more aggressive disease.
Because if you look at the natural history of prostate cancer is that I've got it and I'm going till 75, 80 with the disease and happily chugging along. I hit it early, I got bad disease. That means my genomics are wrong. This is where it is. That is what is happening today, that you are looking at the genomics of the malignancy to decide as to what sort of aggressive therapy you will do.
That's again in the next 5 years probably going to become very important to
Hurry.
initiate treatment.
Huh? Too much to read. And that's already too much to read.
We certainly were in a far happier position.
Huh?
We were certainly in a far happier position. 2 volumes of Campbell and maybe 1 endoscopic surgery.
No other treatment. If architectomy fails, you give stilbestrol. If stilbestrol fails, you give architectomy. Or Mati, that's all. Only 2 treatments were available.
You know, paradoxically,
Radiation to the bone.
Paradoxically, one person that I know very well has been on Hormone, nothing else, for more than 14 years now.
So there are patients like that, Mon.
Yeah.
There are many like that. Boys. Going chugging along with this hornman.
Very obstinate. He won't listen to anything else at all. So, but that's an exception. That's what we need to remember. We can't say, yeah, one uncle of mine, he did very well after this. No, things have changed. Any doubts, any questions from anyone? Who's presenting the next case?
Sir, I am presenting some next case. Hardik sir from Buddhawad.
Yeah, you're presenting. And who's discussing?
Vednaya.
Vednagam. You drop a roster-like thing for a month. And you can send the slides early to them, and they'll also have a little time to read up and prepare. Okay, folks. Thank you all.
Thank you, sir.
Compliments again of the National Doctors' Day. Wish you a nice weekend. We'll catch up next week.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Now,